This is CBC Here and Now.
Last year, we found out this Mount Carmel care home lost its license. Tonight, we'll tell you why.
Cod comeback. Stocks continue to grow, but is there enough for a full-scale fishery?
I'm excited. It's been a while since we've had Team Canada on our jackets.
Team Gushue gears up for the World Champions in Edmonton this weekend.
A little bit of sunshine in the mix for most of us tomorrow, and temperatures rising back closer to where they should be for this time of year. Of course, in the long range, a big one brewing. We'll talk about that coming up.
While tonight, CBC Investigates has new details on the closure of a senior's home last summer.
Yes, 6 residents were living at Riverside Country Manor when Eastern Health revoked its license. The Mount Carmel home wasn't meeting personal home care standards.
Now CBC has documents that reveal what was happening inside the home and what officials were doing about it. Ariana Kelland reports.
Riverside Country Manor is nestled in the sleepy town of Mount Carmel, an hour outside of St. John's. For months, Eastern Health officials had been visiting more often, interviewing residents, staff, and families. These documents obtained by CBC News outline a myriad of complaints and concerns over 2015 and 16. There was enough to trigger an inspection by officials. In one case, a resident didn't receive medical attention after a fall where she hit her head. 4 residents said the home's owner had yelled at them. One resident indicated the personal care homeowner embarrassed her in front of others and pointed her finger at her. Staff members backed up stories of the operator disrespecting the elderly residents. Then there was the smell. Outside, there was a pack of feral cats. Inside, the smell of human urine filled the home. Some residents complained of the cold. Suggestions were made by officials to keep the place warm, but the homeowner declined to act on any of the recommendations suggested. In one case, an employee reported he had checked on residents for days in a row when, in fact, the staff member wasn't even working. A social worker found a note stating a resident wasn't given dessert for 3 days in a row as punishment. The staff member who made that note denied it. The logbook it was written in was then shredded. These and many more issues came to a head in June. After many warnings and chances, Riverside Country Manor continued a pattern of noncompliance with provincial standards in the following months, which compromised the care and well-being of residents. Eastern Health pulled the license, says the operator never reapplied for a new license. Ariana Kelland, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, there's some good news for the northern cod. Federal scientists gave an update today on the stock and say the rebuilding is continuing. But as the CBC's Terry Roberts reports, calls for a larger commercial fishery are also growing.
It's a story of cautious optimism. The cod off Newfoundland and Labrador's east coast are coming back, but nowhere near the numbers they were at their peak in the mid-1980s. So federal fisheries biologists are calling for a go-slow approach when it comes to reestablishing a large-scale commercial fishery.
Although we're optimistic, I think part of the information that I spoke about today indicated that we are still in the lower half of the critical zone. So even though there's optimism, we're going to have to temper that with a little bit of patience, I think.
The spawning biomass of northern cod is estimated at 300,000 tons. That's the fish who are producing, growing the stock.
The purpose has been stated.
That's well above the near extinction levels of a decade ago, but only 1/3 of the biomass DFO says is needed to even begin discussing a large-scale commercial fishery.
And our advice is that because the stock still remains in that zone, the fishing should be kept at the lowest possible levels, and that would still stand based on these results.
Landings more than doubled last year to 10,000 tons. And with valuable crab and shrimp stocks in free fall, the FFAW says it's time to take advantage of what they call a phenomenal growth of cod.
Absolutely critical that we have increases in the quota. If we don't understand in terms of what's happening to us now with this shift, and as the stocks of shellfish are going down, crab, shrimp, we're taking reductions immediately in terms of our quotas, right? Really reducing these. And at the same time, we're getting this very significant rebuilding of northern cod. And now what's happening to us, we're getting a feedback loop now where our success in rebuilding northern cod is having a significant negative impact on our crab and shrimp resources because of predation.
Decker says larger quotas last year were vital to many struggling enterprises, and he believes that larger quotas will not hinder the growth of the cod stocks. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, it was bright, sunny, and cold for most of the province today, but by the end of the week, it could be a very different picture. We want to bring in Ryan Snoddon a little earlier than normal tonight to give us a breakdown. So, Ryan, everyone's got their sights set on the end of that week. How big of a weather bomb is this really going to be for us?
Well, it really depends. The most important thing is that it's only Monday, and we're talking about Thursday into Friday, but everybody's talking about it already, Peter, so we thought we'd kind of get ahead of this thing and start breaking down what we're looking at. March does appear as though it's going to go out more like a lion than a lamb. And here's what we know right now. It looks like significant snowfall, strong winds over a long period of time, and that, of course, the combination of those two things would bring large drifts and blowing snow, perhaps some mixing for eastern Newfoundland and the Avalon, also on the menu depending on the track of this thing. Areas impacted, most of Newfoundland to see snow, but it's central, northeast, and east Newfoundland that are most likely to see that heaviest snow and, of course, the strongest winds. Now, the timeline looks like we'll ramp up through the day Thursday, but I think the stormiest looking set from Thursday night through the day Friday and possibly lingering into Saturday. Again, timing is going to be key here. And an important note, I am not issuing any numbers in my forecast today or even tomorrow, likely, based on how much difference we're seeing in the forecast models. Please know the difference between a meteorologist and your weather app, which will be likely throwing out a few numbers over the next few days. Let's keep those numbers on the download. Be sure before you share that you're getting it from a trusted source. Just a little recommendation, some advice.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Well, the head of the Iron Ore Company of Canada is just a few months into the job, but Clayton Walker says the company is ready to survive a volatile market and uncertain future. Back in February, IOC announced it would go ahead with the expansion of the Wabush 3 mine, and Walker says they're really excited about what that means for IOC and the community. Speaking at the St. John's Board of Trade in St. John's today, Walker says there are a few keys to success in this unpredictable economic climate. Understanding the market you're in and what's happening with governments locally and globally are critical, but he says the biggest factor for success is people, because a happy workforce is a productive one, especially in a volatile mineral market.
I think the issue is you can't focus on the price or the market. You need to focus on what you can control. Once again, we're going to focus on our safety, focus on engaging with our people, and focus on our productivity. We can control that, and if we get that really good, we can weather the storm, if you will, and ride those ups and downs and have a good, sustainable business.
And coming up in about 15 minutes, you'll hear more from the head of IOC, Clayton Walker, when he speaks about the health and safety in Lab West and the suicides in the community.
Well, the town of Gander is writing off more than 700 tickets. Council isn't happy about it, but they say there's nothing else they can do. Here now's Chris Ensing explains.
I have an embarrassing secret to admit. I have an unpaid parking ticket. Yes, one of these lovely yellow letters. Some of you may have one as well. I got mine in my personal vehicle on my personal time, parked too close to a stop sign. Last week at the town of Gander, one of the agenda items had to deal with outstanding tickets like this one here. I wanted to find out if not paying my ticket will pay off. Okay, so I have a parking ticket. It's one of these yellow ones. I'm sorry for not following the rules. Do I have to pay this? It came up in council last week, outstanding fines. Is this a problem I have to deal with still?
What's the date on this thing? So January of this year?
Yes.
Yes, my friend, you're going to have to pay for this one.
Well, what about the council meeting then? What came up? Who doesn't have to deal with this anymore?
The council decision was based on timing for it. Like, it was like 40 years ago.
Okay.
40 up till there was a 30-year span starting about 40 years ago. And in that time frame, if you cannot collect a ticket in 40 years, the likelihood of collecting it are pretty slim.
But what's it feel like to have to write off? That must be thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's $104,000. So it's awful is what it is. Literally people have died, people have moved, and we don't even know who they are.
Okay, yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the other problem, right?
Yeah.
We can't even go after them because it's the province will do that. So you, my friend, are stuck with a ticket.
No special treatment for me. I'm going to have to pay off this ticket. But if you have one from the town of Gander between 1987 and 2007, you're in luck. They're not counting on your cash. To get an idea of how much this costs the town, it's about a 1% tax increase. That's the equivalent. Now, the accounting department has already adjusted over the years, knowing they wouldn't get some of this money back, so there is no changes in the actual budget. This is more just the town saying, we give up, we're not going to be able to get your money. Chris Ensing, CBC News, Gander.
Well, Premier Dwight Ball gave himself a report card today, and he says he's doing a good job. He said everything promised in this fall's Way Forward plan has at least been started, if not finished. Tonight, there's a new plan to try and create more private sector jobs in the province while cutting public sector ones. Government says it can create the equivalent of almost 10,000 new full-time positions in aquaculture, forestry, tourism, and agriculture.
With the winding up of 3 major or mega projects within our province, one of the things that we want to do is making sure that we put a focus on job creation, but it's also the educational component to that job creation is preparing our students and young Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, and in some cases, people that would actually be looking for retraining.
Now, government has been trying to rein in costs. So far, it says it's saved $45 million. Let's take a look at where that's come from. That includes cutting the amount of leased office space in order to save money. There are also cuts to management, and by forcing departments to cut back on travel, office equipment, and supplies through what they call zero-based budgeting. But those savings are just 1/5 of what government needs to find in order to hit its targets for next week's budget. Targets the Premier says they will hit. So what are they going to go after? Schools and health boards are going to have to make management cuts in order to rein in costs. But where else is the Premier going to be looking?
Where they will be, it will probably be in many, many areas, not just 1 or 2, as I just mentioned here.
Well, today the business community says it will be looking closely to make sure government keeps on those targets.
It'll all mean nothing if government can't get the fiscal house in order. Everything is riding on this budget. If they hit their targets, that's going to send a message to the business community and to the economy that this government is serious about dealing with this fiscal problem.
Dozens of crane and heavy equipment operators gathered outside the Operating Engineers Union office in Mount Pearl this morning to protest the removal of one of their leaders. John Flaherty was ousted last week by the American-based union leaders, saying political infighting had paralyzed it. Members here say Flaherty was unfairly blamed for long-standing problems. Tommy Norman helped organize the rally. He says the international office called off a local meeting that members hoped would give them information about what's going on.
A key part of that information would have been the results of forensic audit that they've done for, I think we went back 2 or 3 years, done by Noseworthy Chapman, and we'd like to see those results. And it's unclear whether they're planning on sharing them with us. It's unclear if the audit is still ongoing. Basically, we've been left in the dark.
Police believe that a crash that injured 3 people on the Trans-Canada Highway near Glovertown Friday happened after one of the vehicles lost control. The crash at Big Brook Bridge, east of the Terra Nova National Park Newman Sound entrance, was initially reported as a head-on collision, but Holyrood RCMP say it now appears that the driver of a car heading east lost control, crossed the center line of the highway, and then collided with a van driving west. All 3 people involved were injured. Police are looking to speak with anyone who may have witnessed the crash.
Newly minted Brier champions Team Gushue say they're ready for the World Championships in Edmonton. The foursome spoke to the media this morning at the Remax Center in St. John's. Gushue says preparing for the World Championships means celebrating their Brier win had to be put on hold. The primary obstacle the team needs to overcome in order to be ready for the Worlds? Being too tired. Gushue says that's what the team's sports psychologist has emphasized.
It's been our biggest concern, is making sure we're rested and ready to play. We've taken our time to make sure we get the rest and try to limit our schedule as much as possible, because it is a quick turnaround from the Brier to the Worlds, and the Brier took a lot out of us. I'd be lying if I said it didn't, but I think we've got enough rest, and we will get enough rest leading up to it in the next few days that we'll be ready to go.
Now, coming up in 25 minutes, we'll hear from two of the members of the Gushue rink who moved here to become part of the Brier Championship team.
Well, Newfoundland and Labrador's Special Olympians are back home with plenty of hardware. Here they are arriving at the St. John's International Airport from the World Winter Games in Austria. Sandra Smith, Justin Dodge, Crystal Young, and Floressa Harris each took home medals in their snowshoeing events. Smith won 2 golds and a silver medal, while Dodge won a gold in the 4x100 meter relay. Young won 2 gold medals in the games, and Harris took home 2 silvers and a bronze.
A Quebec Innu band says it's been hunting Labrador caribou despite a ban.
Could northern cod stocks be turning around? More from the province's fisheries union ahead. Ryan, you talked about more snow in the forecast for later on this week.
Yeah, but let's go somewhere where people are actually really enjoying the white stuff. Yes, this is 4-year-old Sadie Osmond's 4. Oh my goodness. Yeah, she's showing off her snowboarding skills here at Marble Mountain, and she doesn't fall down once, if you can believe it. Just look at her go.
Wow.
That is impressive.
4 years old.
You're going to have to start getting your son out there on the slopes there, Ryan, you know.
Even
time's a-ticking.
Even myself, I'd like to get out and be able to snowboard that well.
Wow.
Yeah, future Olympian in the making, perhaps.
Absolutely.
Very impressive skills. So some obviously still loving the snow, right?
Yeah.
Some, not all.
If you're 4 years old and you don't have to shovel a driveway, I think you're loving it. But the rest of us, it's like, eh.
Oh, so cold today. Goodness.
That's so true. Look at these highs today, by the way. -6 in St. John's, -6 in Gander. This is very, very chilly for this time of year. We should be around 2 on the plus side right now in Metro. -6 in Labrador City as well. Current temps, that's pretty much where we are across the board. A little milder, -2 in Badger, thanks to no winds, or at least lighter winds there. And look at those wind chills. -15 in St. John's. It was -26 with the wind chill this morning in St. John's. That's the coldest on record for this date. All the way back to 1950s when they started recording wind chill. Now, again, it is a pretty brisk evening out there, but mainly along that northeast coast where we're looking at sustained winds right now in the 40 to 60 kilometer per hour range, St. John's towards Bonavista Vista. This is the low. This is the culprit. Offshore and moving further offshore, but hurricane force winds detected in this storm today. So it's a big one, and it is far from us, but still close enough that we've been seeing those gusts in that 80 to 85 kilometer per hour range, St. John's to Bonavista Vista. Still seeing some gusts in the Cape Race region near 67, and again, Bonavista Vista right now gusting near 85. There's the storm, which again, moving out. This is not the one we're looking at for later week. This one is going to be departing. Area of high pressure, a thin one, but a strong enough one that it's going to keep this low, which is rolling in from the west, at bay. Some light snow across the Maritimes right now, but this thing really will kind of run out of gas as it moves into our neck of the woods. Note, Labrador City will see, yes, some increase in clouds, some flurries tonight, but nothing too significant. This is your morning outlook as you get the kids ready for the bus tomorrow morning. Note that, yeah, temperatures are again going to be pretty chilly for this time of year. -8 to -12 generally across the island. We'll start near -18 from Lab City to Happy Valley Goose Bay to Nain. And again, those winds will still be gusting in the morning in that 60-70 kilometer per hour range for St. John. So still talking about a wind chill tomorrow morning approaching -20. The wind chills will ease through the day as the temperature warms and the winds back off. We're talking about gusts more so in the 50 to 60 kilometer per hour range for the second half of the day. We'll see some sunshine in the mix, but a little more cloud cover as you work your way towards the northeast coast as well. More sunshine for the south and west coast tomorrow. And note that Labrador City will continue to see those flurries, but that system not moving in, that high pressure area hanging on strong. We'll see the clouds thicken up through Happy Valley Goose Bay into the afternoon, but not much in the way of precipitation. And so as we look at that forecast map for tomorrow, you'll note the warmest temperatures are going to be found along the south and west coast, and that's where you're going to find more in the way of sunshine as well. Temperatures again in the -1 range along the northeast coast, and it's 0 to even +2 for the south and west as winds will become light along the west coast. Note as temperatures warm up into the afternoon in Labrador, we'll be getting up to near the freezing mark in the southeast, -6 in Happy Valley Goose Bay, and that light snow working its way as far east as Churchill Falls tomorrow with a bit of a southeast wind at 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. Don't go anywhere. We'll walk you through the long range forecast. I wonder what we'll talk about. Maybe we'll touch on that Thursday into Friday storm, and we'll walk you right through the weekend with your 7-day trend a little later on.
Well, thanks, Ryan. The lawyer for an Innu band from Quebec says they've been hunting caribou in Labrador despite a ban imposed by this province. Francois Levesque won't say whether hunters from the Pakwashipi band are responsible for killing more than a dozen animals in the Birchie Lake area this month, but he does say the Quebec Innu believe the caribou population is larger than estimated by this province. Levesque also says the 3 hunters who were charged with breaking the hunting ban last year will be challenging the charges on constitutional grounds.
Well, as we heard earlier, DFO scientists say that the 7% growth in the province's cod stocks is cause for optimism, but they also warn that the stock must continue to rebuild. Well, that note of caution hasn't stopped the province's fisheries union from calling for an increase in the quota of northern cod. Here's more of what the two sides had to say today.
We're seeing increases year over year, and in 2016, we've also seen a 7% increase from last year.
Are we ready for a commercial fishery? Are we ready to start employing more fishermen and harvesters in this industry? What would you say to that?
I would say that although we're optimistic, I think part of the information that I spoke about today indicated that we are still in the lower half of the critical zone. So even though there's optimism, we're going to have to temper that with a little bit of patience, I think.
Right. And how far away are we then from getting back to where we were, historic levels in the cod?
Well, we have an estimate of 300,000 tons for SSB, as you mentioned, and we'd want to be at the levels of the mid-80s before we could get out of that critical zone.
And what would those levels be?
Those are about 900,000 tons.
So we're well away. Years away, perhaps?
Our projections show that we're at least 3 years away.
Right. What's your message then to everyone who depends so critically on the ground fishery? What you're seeing, what's your message to them as they're waiting with bated breath to know what's happening with this stock?
I would say that things are looking good, but I would think that it's best to, be patient, and we can hopefully get there.
I look at really strong growth. What they got you to focus on today was a 7% number within last year's survey and this year's survey. Surveys are erratic in a sense every year. DFO science will tell you that. And you need to look at the trajectory over the long term, or, well, medium term. So if you look at what's happening from 2005 to 2016, we've seen this stock grow from 3% to 30-something%. Totally different when you look at that. Phenomenal growth by any stretch of the imagination. That's phenomenal growth to see in any stock, and it's part of a long in this ecosystem shift that's taking place.
So, would you argue for more fishing in the meantime while we watch this rebuild take place?
Oh, it's absolutely critical. Absolutely critical that we have increases in the quota. If we don't understand in terms of what's happening to us now with this shift, and as the stocks of shellfish are going down, crab, shrimp, we're taking reductions immediately in terms of our quotas, right? Really reducing these. And at the same time, we're getting this very significant rebuilding of northern cod. And now what's happening to us, we're getting a feedback loop now where our success in rebuilding northern cod has having a significant negative impact on our crab and shrimp resources because of predation, right? So it's critical for us to start to rebuild an industry. And that rebuilding an industry, you're not going to do this overnight. You need to look at a lead time of 5 years to rebuild an industry. So our position now is absolutely critical that we start rebuilding an industry as we continue to rebuild the cod stocks.
The head of the Iron Ore Company of Canada is optimistic about his company's future, especially in Labrador, but the company is still dealing with issues from the past. We'll hear more from Clayton Walker coming up next.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, things may be looking up for the Iron Ore Company of Canada in Labrador with the expansion of Wabush 3 and higher prices. But a number of issues still need attention. There are concerns over health effects from dust at the mine, the recent suicides in Lab West, and union issues going back a few years. Here's more of Clayton Walker's conversation with Here and Now's Megan McCabe earlier today.
Well, look, I think it was a very sad event with the suicides that happened there in Labrador. And what we were looking at is how can we actually work together? We need to be comfortable in talking about the issues of suicide and helping each other as a society to deal with it. So not only is there some counselors on the ground, but we've also started a task force in conjunction with the government to help bring to light and make it a little easier to talk about mental health issues and how we as a society can solve them.
That's a big concern for people in Labrador, that access to services really hasn't been there. So how is this task force going to help that?
Well, I think the task force isn't going to add more resources. It's more about adding it so that we can actually begin to talk about it. People can then deal with those issues as they arise and be able to funnel them in the right direction so we can get them the proper care.
Okay. Is there a timeline for how long the counselor will be on the ground there?
No, not at this time.
Moving to the dust study, where is that study completed yet?
No, the studies, we're still waiting for it to be completed. As soon as it's completed, we'll go ahead and have a look at it and see what it says and what we can or can't do. But I think right now we're just waiting on getting that report. Hopefully we'll see that in the next 60 days.
What are you doing to control the dust there now?
Currently we have the different forms of protection that people can wear. We make sure that's all available. We've also put in some dust suppression systems in there. So it's quite different than it was, say, 5-6 years ago.
The unions, I mean, there's years and piles of grievances. We have heard that this past number of months, they're feeling like there's progress. How are you getting through all of those?
Well, look, history is what it is, and what I like to focus on is what we're doing today and what we can do in the future, and that's really focusing on engaging. So we've sat down and we've met with our unions. I feel we've created a good dialogue. We've got a lot of work to do, but what I can say is we've sat down, we're having the discussions, and we're making progress, and I think that's the really exciting bit.
Is there any idea when they may all be dealt with?
Who knows when they're all going to be dealt with. We've got years of history that we've been dragging along. It's going to take a while to get through that, but I keep saying to everybody, it's one step at a time, and we'll just keep working our way through that until we resolve it.
Well, let's check in now with the Premier. Today he gave an update on what the government is doing to deal with the deficit and how it's going to help create private sector jobs. And it all comes less than 2 weeks from the provincial budget.
I think there's lots of opportunity, and you've heard me speak about traditional industries. I think in the past in some ways we've kind of forgotten about the impact that a ground fishery could have in creating employment in our province. So making sure that we position the industry leaders and the employees themselves, and in some cases it will be done on a regional basis, and so keenly interested in making sure that we work with the high performing businesses and groups within our province, and making sure we maximize, on the employment opportunities for them as well. And so a government, by making, in some cases it would be investment, some cases it would be training, as an example, that we would be working with the private sector to make sure that we maximize on the job opportunities.
You found $45 million in annual savings. That's just a small part of the savings that your government needs to find in order to meet those deficit reduction targets. Where are the rest of the savings going to come from?
Well, it is, but I mean, $45 million annually is significant as well, and primarily from zero-based budgeting and flatter, leaner management, as was mentioned, some of it around lease space, but it really also creates the awareness to where we are as a province and making sure that we run government efficiently. We do not let it get to the point where we're not focused on the financial impacts of our province. So this work continues, and where we find the savings is really constant. That is what we do every day, making sure if there's an opportunity to actually deliver the services that people rightfully and they want to see, that we make sure that we deliver those in a modern and efficient way. And so where they will be, it will probably be in many, many areas, not just one or two, as I just mentioned here.
Well, coming up, Team Gushue's 2 CFAs talk about life in their adopted home, St. John's. Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, Team Gushue wowed the hometown crowd in capturing the Brier earlier this month, but now the team is preparing for the World Championships in Edmonton starting on April 1st. For two of the team members, Brett Gallant and Jeff Walker, St. John's is their adopted home. Cameraman Bruce Tilley chatted with them today and asked how they joined the team.
I just got a call one day, actually from Adam Casey, who played with Brad at the time, and he was a longtime former teammate of mine. We'd played against Brad and Adam that season a few times, and they were looking for a new player, and Adam kind of brought my name up, and kind of the rest is history. From there, we just we played an event the end of that season, and then we started off about 5 years ago with the team.
What they got you doing to make you fit in with the Newfoundland culture? Tell me. What do they get? What foods are they getting you to try? What music they getting you to listen to?
Well, my buddies, they're big into the cabin party every Saturday night. So we go over there and we learn a few new songs, seems every weekend, and that's one of the things we're not used to. You know, we're not from here, but it's pretty cool. And you see that this hour's 22 minutes skit there after we won the Brier about us not having the Newfoundland accent. So it's pretty funny, but nothing too crazy that we wouldn't do at home. I find Newfoundland, St. John's is quite a bit like Charlottetown, PEI, and it's friendly people, and it's just a great place to be.
Moved out here July of 2011. Actually got a call from Brad, and he was making a couple changes on his team at that point. Mark had shut her down, and Jamie Korab had shut her down, and they were looking for two new players. So I decided to move out. First 2 years I worked at the golf course. I actually worked at Clow Valley one summer and worked at Ballyhaley one summer, and I worked with a lot of some older guys with some pretty heavy accents. So being that it was my first couple of years here, it was pretty tough to understand some of the older guys. But you know what, I found myself saying a lot of the sayings after a little while. It just picking it up when you're talking to those guys, and you don't even really notice it. But obviously met some good friends here now, and that introduced me to a few of the things that they do and things that they eat, and it's been pretty fun.
Give me some examples of some of the sayings and what you eat that you would never have eaten had you stayed in Alberta.
Well, I had obviously the jig sninner. I've had that a few times. Cod au gratin, stuff like that. Fish tongues, cod cheeks, cod tongues. Things like that I've never had before. That was pretty cool. Obviously, just some of the sayings. What do you add? Best kind. Those things, and buy obviously. But like I said, it just started to come natural after a few years living here, and especially working outside with a lot of some of the older guys from around the bay.
When you go back home to Alberta, do you use these sayings sometimes? Do they slip out?
Yeah, they have for sure. Talking to some of my old friends and family, you might say something and you don't even realize it, and they'll sort of look at you like, where did that come from? But yeah, it's sort of funny how that happens, and it's just, it makes sense. You spend so much time here now. Like I said, I've been here 6 years, so it's natural.
Well, looks like you guys had a lovely time at the Tasty Tunes fundraiser on Saturday.
Absolutely, yeah. There were about 300 people. It was a sold-out event, and listened to some great music and ate a few great nibblies as well.
Yeah, and it was all for a really good cause. CBC raised about $10,000 for the Community Food Sharing Association, so that's going to be distributed to food banks right across the province. So it was a fun fundraiser for sure. And here's a little look at the event.
All proceeds, absolutely every cent from today's event, will be donated to the Community Food Sharing Association here in St. John's. So how about a hand for that? Today we're calling the program Tasty Tunes. Tasty because everyone here in the audience gets to sample sweet foodie lovin' from our local chefs. And tunes because you get to hear 7 of the best singer-songwriter tunesmiths from right across this province. Brianna Goss, Gordon Quinton, Dwayne Andrews, Mark Bragg, Pat McLeavy, Aaron Collis, and the amazing Amelia Kern.
Now that your darling keeps you home, there goes the best.
Wow. Looks like some pretty amazing artists and musicians performed.
Yeah,
Love to hear more.
It was a great show, and if you want to see the show, or not see the show, really listen to the show, it is going to be broadcast on radio on the East Coast Music Hour this Saturday at 10:30 Island Time on CBC Radio 2, and again at 5:30 p.m. Island Time on CBC Radio 1. So
yeah, and it sounds like by Saturday we're going to have. You can maybe put in your earbuds as you shovel the pile of snow that'll be sitting in your driveway at that point.
Certainly looking more and more likely that we'll have snow to shovel by the time we get to the weekend. And again, lots of moving parts here. So this is one that we are going to have to watch over the next couple of days. This map hopefully will bring a little more clarity because we have basically two systems coming in here. One tracks in from the southwest, the yellow box to your left. Another low comes in. It's actually a subtropical low with additional moisture. That's what's really going to give this some juice, so to speak. Those two lows merge into one, and then that system stalls southeast of the island, then wanders northeastward. And as it does so, significant snow and wind potential for the Avalon, the northeast, up into central parts of Newfoundland. Not so much for the west and northern peninsula based on the latest projections. But again, this is still a few days out, so we're keeping an eye on things. There is the first low just brewing in the U.S. interior right now. That subtropical low is right there, and that, again, has a lot of fuel with it that will be rolling northward. The first low here that you see rolling into the Maritimes, not going to be an issue for us. This area of high pressure going to keep things quiet as we move through tonight into tomorrow, relatively speaking, because the winds are still a little on the strong side along that northeast coast for sure. Still looking at gusts 70 to 80 kilometers per hour overnight tonight. By the time we get to Tuesday, still seeing some gusts in the 50 to as strong as 70 kilometer per hour range, especially as we work towards the exposed areas of the coast, aka Bonavista and the peninsula there. You can see sunshine on the menu for a good portion of us tomorrow, but still some flurry chances along that northeast coast and a little more in the way of sunshine as you work your way back towards the southwest. Labrador City with some light snow tomorrow at -4. But that system, again, will have a hard time working its way inland. As far east as Churchill Falls, it's some building cloud cover for Happy Valley Goose Bay down towards the southwest parts of the island. But as we roll into Wednesday, it's just really some light snow with this system that will start to approach the west coast. Everybody else just seeing some increasing cloud cover through the day on Wednesday. -5 with, again, scattered flurry chances for most of Labrador. So let's pick things up Wednesday evening and show you where these two systems are. So this is the one that's over the interior of the U.S. right now. Here comes our subtropical low, and again, lots of moisture with that. These two systems will eventually merge through the day on Thursday. At this same time, this is when we're going to start to get into some of that lighter snow across the island, which will ramp up for Thursday evening into the overnight based on the latest projections. The timing of this merging of the two systems, how much moisture comes into this new low that forms, all of this these are all going to be key factors in terms of the forecast and how much snow and how much wind we are going to see. The low again stalls and then slowly starts to roll to the northeast as we move throughout the day on Friday. But again, it's eastern Newfoundland, the northeast coast into central, where we have some big snow and wind potential, particularly for the Avalon. And then as you work your way to the west, conditions will drop off. But again, the track of that system is obviously key for how far west you have to go before conditions start to improve. So a lot of moving parts here. Could see some mixing on the Avalon Peninsula as we work through even Thursday, possibly even into Friday. So here's my forecast right now. Thursday afternoon, +1. Looking at some afternoon flurries, ramping up to some snow into the later parts of the day, possibly mixing with some rain. And again, some snow for central and even western parts of the island. And then for Friday, again, snow, possibly some mixing on the Avalon with windy conditions. And again, this is where I think the storm will be at its worst based on the latest conditions right now. There's your quick look at your 7-day trend. Good news, we're clearing out for the weekend. Good shoveling weather, guys. And as we look into Labrador, we are looking at not a bad Friday into Saturday, a little bit of light snow for Sunday.
Well, our young athlete of the day is a Major League Baseball fan. Daniel Brown is 8 years old and lives in Burin.
He's been playing baseball for 3 years and has gotten gold medals for participation. He even traveled to Toronto to cheer on the Blue Jays and his favorite player, Jose Bautista.
Nice. Hope you'll be on the field soon, Daniel. Congratulations on being chosen as today's Young Athlete of the Day.
The Liberals could make marijuana legal by Canada Day 2018. Coming up, senior reporter Julie Van Dusen joins us from Ottawa. Welcome back to Here and Now. Well, it's been a long-awaited Liberal campaign promise, which now has a tentative deadline. The Liberals could make marijuana legal by Canada Day 2018. CBC News has learned that the government is going to announce the legislation within weeks. And for more on what this means, our senior reporter Julie Van Dusen joins us now live from Ottawa. So, Julie, let's start with what this legislation entails.
Well, Carolyn, we're getting snippets of what's in the legislation. First of all, let's talk about Ottawa's role. Ottawa will be making sure that the supply of marijuana is safe and secure. It will have the role of licensing producers. Canadians can expect that should they want to, they can grow up to 4 plants in their own homes. Now, for the provinces, they will decide distribution and sale, like where it's going to be sold, how much it'll be sold for, and in terms of the age, Ottawa is suggesting 18 years old is okay to buy marijuana, but the provinces may want to raise that age if they want. Now, today, Jane Philpott, the federal health minister, said that just because marijuana will be made legal doesn't mean it's safe, and she points to other substances like alcohol, cigarettes, where Canadians have known for a long time the dangers of those substances. So to expect an education campaign, there was money in the budget last week, $1 million a year for such a campaign. Now, as to the provinces, we've spoken to many, but Philippe Couillard of Quebec was concerned about just how much of the nuts and bolts of this legislation will be downloaded to the provinces. So take a listen to Jane Philpott, followed by Philippe Couillard.
I think you'll see those same kinds of public health measures and mechanisms in place as we introduce cannabis in a way that is regulated, that is restricted, and that has a strong public health campaign.
We should also be careful not to add too much responsibilities on the shoulders of provinces. For example, regulation, implementation, how we're going to test people for this. So we want to make sure that everybody will play his part.
Okay, so Julie, what are some of the unanswered questions here?
Well, Quiara just alluded to one of them, and that's testing. Carolyn, right now there's not really a way to test people to see if they're impaired at the wheel from marijuana, but the government is putting through devices, 2 devices through testing process right now, and we'll know the results soon. And there's also the question of amnesty. Thousands of Canadians have a criminal record for simple possession of marijuana. Will that record be waived once marijuana is legal? And what about all the money the government is going to collect through taxes? Bill Morneau still hasn't said how much will be collected and what will happen to the money. Will it go to general revenues or certain programs? Carolyn, there's so many questions, and I gather we'll know a lot more answers when that bill is tabled next month.
All right, Julie, thank you so much. That's Julie Van Dusen, our senior reporter at CBC's Parliamentary Bureau in Ottawa.
Well, in the U.S., Donald Trump's son-in-law is making headlines for 2 very different reasons today. Jared Kushner has agreed to speak with the Senate Intelligence Committee. It's investigating possible ties between Trump's election campaign and Russian officials. He'll be the first senior White House official to be questioned. Kushner also has a new job. He'll be tapped to spearhead a government office that will overhaul federal bureaucracy. Well, police in Berlin are calling it a heist. Making off with a giant gold Canadian coin must have taken more than a few hands. The big maple leaf is 53 centimeters in diameter, and it's 3 centimeters thick, weighing 100 kilograms, and it's solid gold. Police say the burglars used a window to get into the museum where it was kept early this morning. The coin has a face value of $1 million and is almost 100% pure gold. It's estimated to be worth about $4.5 million on the market. Well, if you're glad to see the back of winter, here's something to make you appreciate the season that just passed.
Yes, amazing winter pictures of Canada's north, shot and shared with CBC by our viewers this past week.
Beautiful when you get to see the northern lights or puppies running through the snow.
Always love puppies running through the snow. Oh, look at that.
Welcome back to Here and Now. Monster truck fans are still in awe after a crazy stunt this weekend.
Just look at this. Wow, there it is. The first ever front flip landed at the Monster Jam World Finals Freestyle Championship on Saturday.
Yeah, the man behind the move is Lee O'Donnell. And needless to say, with that move, he won the championship. Not hard to see why.
Yeah, adding more fuel to his nickname, the Mad Scientist. Say that's an appropriate nickname.
Yeah, I wonder how what sort of shape he was in after flipping around like that inside. Take a few knocks.
That's fantastic, though.
Yeah.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Well, it's been almost the whole show since I showed this graphic. I wanted to show it one more time. Most importantly, this, because we're trying to keep the storm hype on the low side over the next couple of days because there's still a long way to go. So again, before you share any numbers, be aware of where they're coming from. Your weather app is really just direct forecast model output, no human screening going through that. So make sure you're not throwing out any of those big crazy numbers that possibly the forecast models are showing. Again, central east, northeast Newfoundland, just a good solid heads up that if you've got some travel plans, you're going to want to stay tuned to the forecast over the next couple days. Lots of time to slice and dice this one up over the next few days.
Yeah, when do you think you'll have more accurate numbers on
definitely, if not tomorrow, then certainly Wednesday. It really will depend on how much the guidance comes together over the next 24 hours or so.
Still lots of time for maybe it to go away and not even hit us at all. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Maybe a complete miss. You never know.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone.
Good night.